Welcome to the class. Today we are going to discuss about proteins, which is very important and it is a part of your biomolecules. Part of your biomolecules, right? Okay. So if we, these are the sources of protein. Let me show you. This is what we call the sources of protein. Sources of proteins. This is meat, avocado, right? Fish, all know this. Chickpea, almonds, right? Eggs, walnuts, beans, so many are there, right? Greens, spinach, cheese, again chicken. So these are the sources of proteins from where you can get the protein, right? So this picture is to make you understand why you need to have a proper diet, because if you don't have it, there may be deficiency of protein. So these are the sources of proteins from where we can get the good sources of protein, right? Next, let's move into, okay, these are some plant sources of proteins and these are some animal sources of proteins, right? If you see plant sources, these are the protein sources, right? Animal sources you all know, right? Okay, so proteins are known as the building blocks of life. So why it is known as building blocks of life? Because proteins, they build and repair tissues. Number one, they build and repair tissue, right? They build and repair tissue, gives protection against infections. You can write provides protection, right, against infections, provides protection against diseases also you can write, right? Number third is what? Helps in generation of cellular ATP. Helps in generation of cellular energy, right? As it is able to maintain the stability of a cell, we can say, or it is also, you can see your hairs, nails, skins, all are made up of protein, right? So we also called it protein as a building blocks of life because they are the most abundant molecules present in the body and form about 60% of dry weight of the cell. So what is 60% of dry weight? Suppose you have taken a cell here, right? And if you measure the dry weight of the cell, you will find that 60% of the weight is because of the protein. So we call it, they constitute 60% of the dry weight of the cell, right? Next, apart from cells, most of the enzymes, regulatory and structural parts of the body are made up of proteins. So it is not that only cells are made up of proteins. To maintain the cell or to maintain the metabolism, we need some sort of enzymes, right? Enzymes, and there are some proteins, like for example hemoglobin, which provides oxygen. Hemoglobin, what is the function of hemoglobin? It transports oxygen. Hemoglobin, what is the function of hemoglobin? Basically it transport oxygen, right? So this hemoglobin is nothing but it is a protein. Since the shape of the hemoglobin is circular, so we called it globular protein. So we called it what? Globular protein. This is one of the example, right? Enzymes, most of the enzymes we used, enzymes, whatever your enzymes, digestive enzymes, right, the for which helps in food digestion, these all are made up of protein, right? And food like egg, pulses, milk and other milk products from the major high protein foods for the body. So there are some food products like milk. I have shown you already the pictures, right? So these are basically the high sources of proteins, right? Okay, so we have seen that proteins are composed of amino acids arranged into different groups. So what is amino acids? If we talk about amino acids, see here, this is a carbon, right? When this carbon is linked with amino group on one side and it is linked with carboxylic acid on another side. See here, This is linked with amino group on one side, carboxylic group on another side. And here it is H, here it is R. So this R group keeps on changing with different amino acid. Keeps on changing. No need to write, keeps on changing with different amino acids. For acidic amino acid, this group will be replaced by acidic group, and for basic amino acid, some basic group will come and occupy the position of R, right? So here why we call it amino acids here, this is the amino group which is attached, and acidic group is your carboxylic acid, right? As both amino and acidic group are present here, so we call them amino acids, and they are categorized into different categories based on the group which is occupied in this position, right? So this is amino acid. Now this amino acid, suppose I am calling it A1, right? Another amino acid will also be there, we call it A2, right? So similarly, many different amino acids, when joined together, we call this amino acid chain as a protein. This chain of amino acid, we call it what? We call it proteins. Clear? So these fundamental amino acid sequences are specific and its arrangements are controlled by DNA. So after A1, which will come? A2 will come or A3? So that arrangement is controlled by DNA. And it is on this arrangement that different proteins are different from each other. For example, if you see, say we have muscle proteins, myosin, we call it muscle proteins, right? We have also keratin, which is your hair protein. So how they are different from one another? How these two proteins are different from one another? These two proteins are different from one another on the arrangement of amino acids. These proteins are different from one another on the arrangement of amino acids. Clear? So this proteins different. Similarly, you have so many proteins inside your body. So how they are different from one another? They are different from one another on the arrangement of the amino acids, right? Proteins are very large molecules composed of basic units called amino acids. In addition to containing carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, amino acids contain nitrogen. So you can see what are the ions present here. This is nitrogen, hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, right? And if R group is replaced by some other group, then we will include that also, right? So proteins are highly complex molecules that are actively involved. Proteins are one highly complex molecules that are actively involved in the most basic and important aspects of life. This include metabolism, movement, defense, cellular communication and molecular recognition. So this all is done. This is the function of protein, you can say. So they plays a very great role in maintaining the metabolism. See, when you are suffering from indigestion or when you are suffering from loose motions or any kind of stomach ache, what will happen? Your digestive enzyme will not work properly. If your digestive enzymes are what? They are basically proteins. So ultimately it is protein which is playing a role. So they helps in metabolism, movement, defense, cellular communication and molecular recognition. Clear? Okay, so proteins are the fundamental building blocks of our body. Why we call it building blocks? Because they build and repair tissues. They provide protections against diseases. Apart from this, they build up, structures, different structures inside our body, they form the structural component. For example, like hairs, nails, skins, etc. So proteins are large and complex macromolecules or biomolecules which perform a major role in the functioning and regulating of our body cells, tissues and other organs in the human body. They are also used in providing strength to our body in producing hormones, enzymes and other metabolic chemicals. So you can see the proteins are basically the main, you can say the proteins are important macromolecule or which build up the many, you can say, which build up many tissues, repair tissues, maintain the metabolism of the cell, which makes enzymes, hormones, and also other metabolic chemicals, right, which play a very great role or important role in maintaining the stability of the cell. They are involved in functioning and regulating of our body cell, tissues, and organs, right? Okay, so coming to the structure of protein. If we see the protein structure, proteins are polymeric chain of amino acid residues. Already we have seen that whenever the amino acid joins together, we call it protein. So we can also define proteins as a chain of amino acid. Chain of amino acids, right? The structure of protein is mainly composed of long chain of amino acids. The structure and composition of amino acids gives particular properties to the protein. Amino acids are made up of an amino group and a carboxylic group. We know about it. We have seen this, right? So if coming to the structure of the structure of the protein is classified at 4 levels. What are the 4 levels? If you see, primary, right, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary, right? So secondary is again further divided into alpha helix and beta pleated structure. Beta pleated structure. Now what is primary protein? So primary protein is nothing but it is a linear sequence of amino acid. If you see, when these amino acids arranged in a linear form, then we call it what? We call it primary structure. A4, A5. This is what we call the primary structure because they are attached linear chain. So if we go to the definition here, you can see primary structure of a protein is the primary structure of the protein is the linear polypeptide chain formed by the amino acids in a particular sequence. Changing the position of even a single amino acid will result in a different chain and hence a different protein. So that is what I was telling here. See here, for example, this is A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. So this linear protein, we call it what? It is a primary structure because the amino acids are arranged in a linear straight chain, right? And if one amino acid, suppose A4 is replaced by A6, suppose if A4 here is replaced by A6, then what we'll get? We will get a different protein other than this protein, right? So the different protein structures are dependent on different arrangement of amino acids. Clear? So what you need to know from primary structure is that when the amino acids are joined linearly in a straight line, then we call it a primary structure. Coming to secondary structure of protein is formed by hydrogen bonding. In the polypeptide chain, this bonding causes the chain to fold and coil into different conformations known as the alpha helix or beta pleated shape. The alpha helix is like a single spiral and is formed by hydrogen bonding between every 4 amino acid. Okay, fine. So first let me tell you one important thing here. This amino acid is connected to this amino acid. So the bond through which these amino acids are connected, this bond we call it peptide bond. What we call? We call it peptide bond. So here this is peptide bond. So in case of primary structure, the bond which is present, in case of primary structure, the bond which is present, we call this bond only peptide bond is present because the structure is attached linearly. So in linear arrangement, only one bond is only single type of bond is involved, that is your peptide bond. But if you see the secondary structure is something like this. See, A1 when joined to A2, the hydrogen atom present in amino acid 1 will form a hydrogen bond with amino acids 2. So as a result, what will happen? There will be a folding of the protein. So this is what we call secondary structure. So in secondary structure, there are involvement of 2 types of bond. What are the 2 types of bond? Peptide bond plus hydrogen bond. Peptide bond plus hydrogen bond. Clear? So this is what we call the secondary structure. Secondary structure of protein is formed by a hydrogen bonding in the polypeptide chain. This bond causes the chain to fold and coil in two different conformations known as the alpha helix or beta pleated sheet. So depending on their coiling, we name them two structure, that is alpha helix. Alpha helix is something in a helical form like this. Beta pleated structure is something like this. We will see the image in our next slide. Next slide like this. This is what it is, beta pleated, and this is your helix. Clear? So the alpha helix is like a single spiral, and is formed by hydrogen bonding between every fourth amino acid. Every fourth amino acid means what? This is A1, A2, A3, A4. So A1 and A4 will form a hydrogen bond, right? Similarly, A5, A6, A7, A8, these also again form hydrogen bond, right? So this is the arrangement of your secondary structure. The beta pleated sheet is formed by hydrogen bonding between two or more adjacent polypeptides. So beta bonding means what? Adjacent means what? Suppose this is one amino acid, this is connected to second, this is connected to third. So each of them hydrogen will bond with each other, adjacent. Hydrogen bond will be formed with adjacent amino acids in case of beta pleated sheet. Clear everyone? Yes. So that is all about primary and secondary structure. If you see, this is the primary structure. You can see the image. It is a very linear. See, it is linear arrangement. Only single straight line. This is what we call what? Primary structure. If you say secondary structure, here this is in a helical form, so we call it alpha helices, and this is, you can see, beta pleated, and here hydrogen bond is formed in between the adjacent adjacent amino acids, right? And here only one bond is involved, that is your peptide bond. And in secondary structure, peptide bond plus, you can say, hydrogen bond is involved, right? In tertiary structure, it is peptide bond plus hydrogen bond, and in quaternary structure plus disulfide. Sulfide, you can say sulfur bond, or you can say sulfide bond is also present in tertiary structure. In quaternary structure, it is peptide bond, hydrogen bond, sulfide bond plus hydrophobic interactions. Clear? Yes. So this is your tertiary structure, further coiling, and further coiling then tertiary will form your quaternary structure. Next, tertiary structure. Tertiary structure is the final three-dimensional shape acquired by the polypeptide chains under the attractive and repulsive forces of the different R groups of each amino acid. This is a coiled structure that is very necessary for protein function. Coming to quaternary, this structure is exhibited only by those proteins which have multiple polypeptide chain combined to form a large complex. The individual chains are then called subunits. So suppose this is one chain and this is another chain. Now when both of this will combine, this will form, let me use different color for this so that you can understand it. Suppose this is one protein chain and suppose this is another protein chain. Now when both of them will combine, how it look like? Right? So this is what we call quaternary structure. And this, now once they form a complex, this individual chains, we called it subunits. We called it what? We called it subunits. Clear? Next, coming to the functions of protein. If we talk about the functions of protein, it helps in digestion. Digestion is carried out by digestive enzymes which are basically proteinaceous in nature. Movement, myosin, is a protein found in muscles which enables the contraction of muscles, making movement possible. Structure and support. Keratin is the structural protein which makes our hair, nails, horns in animals. It also helps in cellular communication, like we communicate with each other. Similarly, our cells also communicate with each other. So this communication is basically carried out with the help of proteins. Cells communicate with each other cells and external environment via receptors present on the surface of the cell, and these receptors are made up of proteins. Act as a messenger. These proteins function as a chemical messenger which helps in the communication between cells. This is helps, which helps in the communication between cell, tissues and organs. So here the part which is hiding here, which it stands for helps, which helps in the communication between cell, tissues and organs. So these are the functions of the protein, right? Now, what will happen if there is a deficiency of protein? Deficiency of protein leads to Kwashiorkor and marasmus disease. So, what will happen in both the disease? Here I have made a comparison chart to make you understand. It develops in children whose diets are deficient of proteins, and marasmus develops in children whose diets are, you can say, deficient in proteins and calories. It occurs in children between 6 months and 3 years of age. It is common in infants under 1 year of age. Subcutaneous fat is preserved. Here in case of marasmus, subcutaneous fat is not preserved. Enlarged fatty liver. Here no fatty liver. Ribs are not very prominent. Here ribs become prominent. You can see the ribs part. Here there is no ribs. Lethargic, alert and irritable. Muscles wasting or muscle wasting mild, severe muscles wasting, poor appetite, voracious feeder. The person suffering from Kwashiorkor needs adequate amount of proteins, and the person suffering from marasmus needs amount of proteins, fats and carbohydrate. So what you need to know is, what you need to know is what are the deficiency of protein. The diseases related with the deficiency of proteins. Coming for a quick summary what we have discussed in the class. Quick summary, we have seen about the proteins, right? What we have seen, proteins are the building block of our body. Building block of body, right? And if we define proteins are basically nothing but it is a chain of amino acids. Chain of amino Proteins are nothing but it is a chain of amino acids, right? Coming to the structure of the protein, if we talk about the structure of the protein, structure of protein is basically what? It is of 3 types. What are the 3 types? It is your primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary. Structure: primary, secondary, right, tertiary and quaternary. If we talk about the primary amino acids, primary amino acid is basically what? It is a linear polypeptide, or you can say linear chain of amino acids. Example, let me give this example: A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. So this is a linear chain of amino acid. Coming to secondary amino acids, secondary amino acids are what? This basically is divided into 2 types, that is your alpha helix and beta pleated structure. Alpha helix is something, you can say something like this, and beta pleated is something like this, right? Next, tertiary. Tertiary is formed by coiling. You can say Tertiary is formed by further coiling of the amino acids, right? So we will see the bone involved. Quaternary is basically composed of two subunit. Subunit means what? It's composed of two chains of amino acid and they group together as a complex which we call quaternary structure. Clear everyone? This is basically the structure. Next we will discuss the okay. Now here we will see the bone involved in the structure of protein. Bones involved bones involved in the structure of protein. Bones involved in the structure of proteins. Bones involved in the structure of proteins we will see, right? So if we talk about the bones are basically two types. What are the two types? Covalent and non-covalent bone. Covalent and non-covalent bone, right? Covalent and non-covalent bones involves are basically two types, covalent and non-covalent bone, right? So covalent bone are basically what? If we talk about the covalent bone, it includes your peptide bone and disulfide bone. Peptide bone and disulfide bone, right? And if we talk about the non-covalent bone, it includes hydrogen bone, hydrophobic interactions, van der Waals, and ionic bone. So these are the bones which are involved in the structure of the protein. Now we will see in which structure which bone is involved, right? Now if we talk about the primary structure, for primary structure there is only one bone, that is your what? The bone is your peptide bone, and it is what? Covalent or non-covalent in nature? It is your covalent bone. Covalent bone you know, right, which is formed by sharing of electrons. Coming to secondary structure, in case of secondary structure, the bone involved is basically your peptide bone plus hydrogen bone, right? So peptide bone is your covalent bone. Okay, peptide bone is your covalent bone, and hydrogen bond is your non-covalent bone. Hydrogen bond is what? It is non-covalent bone, right? Coming to tertiary structure. Tertiary structure of protein, it includes or it forms two types of bone, that is covalent and, let me write here, covalent and non-covalent. So what are the covalent bone it forms? Covalent bone, it forms peptide plus disulfide bone. Peptide plus disulfide bone, right? And the non-covalent bone, it includes what? Hydrogen bone, hydrophobic bone, then van der Waals and ionic bone. So these are the bone it forms: hydrogen bone, hydrophobic bone, van der Waals and ionic bone, right? So the tertiary and quaternary structure both form these two types of bonding. Clear everyone? Yes, so this is very important, fine. And if you have students, if you have any doubt, please feel free to ask. You can also drop a comment and also you can text me, right? Thank you so much students for watching this session. Bye bye. Take care everyone.